Let me introduce you to my guest today. I'm delighted to say that the UK correspondent for Tuttosport, Federico Farcomeni, is joining me now live on Sportuccino. Good afternoon to you, Federico, even. I'm so used to these early mornings.
Good, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to everybody. Hello.
So we've got this big game tonight between Chelsea and Manchester United. Chelsea have looked really good this season, haven't they, Federico?
Yeah, they are. They are. And obviously, this make me write more about Conte and about Chelsea, about everything. But yeah, they're really doing well and they're on course for the double. But mind you, they haven't ousted the FA Cup winners, I think, since 1966. So that's quite a long time. Although they have a very good chance to do it tonight exactly because of the reasons you were saying before. They have a striking problem up front, and obviously they will. I think Man United will prioritise eventually the Europa League qualification against Rostov on Thursday. And to be honest with you, when I saw the fixtures of the FA Cup, I never thought this could be a Monday night game because of the of the slot, because of visibility, because of the Europa League in between. I thought it was going to be probably Sunday, but then there you go. So Mourinho has to do some choices there.
There's so many good teams in the Premier League this season, and it was called the Battle of the Managers at the beginning of the season, with Guardiola coming, with Conte coming, with Mourinho at Manchester United. You still got Wenger, a lot of people like Jurgen Klopp, everything like that. Should we be surprised that Chelsea are top, that they've been doing so well, or do people in Italy who've seen what he did at Juventus, they're not surprised at all?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of mixed feelings, to be honest, because nobody really expected Conte to have a good chance to win the Premier League on his very first season here, because we all thought he might struggle a bit to adapt to English football, to the pace of English football, for all those reasons, or also for everything else, for midweek games, for other stuff. But eventually, the fact that he didn't have exactly that problem, that issue of the European Cups, it was probably a bit easier in this respect. But still, everybody I think is very proud. At the same time, a bit surprised as well, because we really didn't expect him to go and win it at the first season, first attempt.
Yeah, if they do the double, be very impressive. Of course, Carlo
If,
Ancelotti won the double in his
yes.
first season. Chelsea have got a long history with Italians, don't they?
Yeah. I think is a good texture, of people, because I was reading. Obviously, probably you have read it as well. The Glenn Hoddle interview of him doing the transfers with the payphone and stuff like that in 1994. But now how things have changed and developed since then at Chelsea, and all the shifts from Arlington to Cobham and all the stuff. And at the same time, I think West London is an ideal location as well for Italians. It tends to be for Italian citizens in general, I think, because I've seen many. And at the same time, this probably provide a good platform as well when somebody comes in, also, in terms of manager of footballers, and they feel at home in this part of London. So that's probably one of the reasons, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine any footballer wanting to come to England would much prefer playing in West London than in the freezing north of Newcastle or Sunderland or somewhere like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Now, we're
Makes
talking about
sense.
the real high level of the game, but the game you were at is in a lower division over in Italy on Saturday. Tell us a bit about that, Federico.
Yeah, I was in lovely Ferrara, which is close to Bologna, and is well connected as well to London Heathrow, because there is a direct flight, which I didn't think. And Ferrara as well is a World Heritage site, so it's worth a visit, even for a day, maybe for a couple of days, because it's a small town eventually. And the local team there is called Spal, Spal, and they're an historic club because also England manager Fabio Capello, former England manager Fabio Capello, played for them. And mind you, he will be here as well as Stamford Bridge tonight to commentate on the Chelsea Manchester United game for the Italian television. And they haven't been back in Serie A since 1968, and on Saturday they went top of Serie B with that win. So the Serie B is a very strange league. It's like the Championship in England, of course. So anything can happen at any time against anybody. But in this moment, Spal are on a streak. Because they're, I think, 11 games unbeaten, and with that game they're now top. So they started to dream, but at the same time they have the feet firmly on the ground, because they know it's going to be difficult from here to the end. But they now believe even more, because they got promoted last season, and they never expect to do the double jump. So the target for this season was just safety, mid-table safety. But now the top, and obviously they're going to believe to get promoted. And for instance, on Saturday as well, at the stadium there were some scouts from Leicester City and West Ham, watching Bonifazi, who is a young, interesting talent in defence, playing very well for Spal at the moment. Although obviously, I think it will be too big a leap, from Serie B to Premier League. It will be even if you go play for West Ham or Leicester, still it will be a very big leap. So I hope the guy stays at Spal and maybe he gets promoted with them, and then gets the chance to show his talent at a bigger level, because otherwise it will be it will be massive, in terms of change and shift and everything else. But still, it was a very interesting experience, I think.
Well, as a Brighton and Hove Albion fan, and we're on the cusp of reaching the Premier League, I feel for the Spal and hope them all the best in that. You mentioned Capello there.
I was reading a Brighton and Hove Albion book, Build a Bonfire.
Oh,
Bonfire. Yeah, about the all the goldstone and everything. I was reading it exactly this weekend, so it's a good connection there, and the colors are the same as well.
Oh, fantastic! Maybe the two clubs need to do something together if they both get promoted. Maybe a pre-season friendly or something like that.
Yeah,
that could be really fun. Yeah, back in 1997, I remember the Goldstone ground. But you mentioned Capello there. I'm throwing you on the spot now, just quickly, Federico. Has there been much talk about him ever coming back to management? His last job finished in 2015 with Russia.
Yeah, everybody's asked this question. He always says he's not interested, because he's got many chances to come back. Maybe even AC Milan or Roma. They looked for him, Inter Milan as well. They looked for him, Juventus themselves. They wanted to give him probably a different role, but he never seems to be interested. And now, he's very happy to commentate for Fox Sports, and that's what he's all about. He's probably happy with his life at the moment. So he never talks about going back into management. Perhaps he feels, his time is up, or he never finds, how do you say, a challenging, environment or something he likes. So yeah, apparently, after last year, talks of him coming back to management have been died down, I would say. So yeah, not really now, not really.
It sounds like a bit of a slow retirement. Now let's move on, Federico. It's not been a very good Six Nations campaign for Italy, has it? Another defeat on Sunday. What's the feeling back in Italy right now towards their rugby team?
It's quite depressing. I mean, you can tell from the attendances as well, because the other games as well against France, but against Wales, there were probably 40, 50,000 people, which is a good number. But if you think, even last year and 2 years ago, there were 70, 80,000 people watching the rugby. It tells you something. It tells you part of the story that, people probably feel a bit discouraged about going to the ground and watch the Six Nations, because yes, it's a good experience. Yes, it's a good event. But then, they're probably running a bit out of patience now, although they don't understand that you really need time to keep building up. I think with Conor O'Shea, they can build, but they need 2 more years. Obviously, it's easier said than done, as usual. But yeah, I mean, the response on the media generally is always the same. We give for granted that things are not going to be okay. But I must say, after the Twickenham game, for instance, it was a positive response from the press, from the public in general, because of the tactics. Although there were probably negative tactics for Eddie Jones. But because of that reason, people were starting to say it was like if Mourinho or Conte were on the bench for Crotone, leading a very low Serie A club, so basically saying the players themselves, there will be nothing but they have a great coach, so they should make the most of it, and that's the general feeling at the moment. So we feel very blessed to have Conor O'Shea on the bench, but at the same time, we need, in my opinion, we need to. This is a problem that the Italian Federation they've been having for years and years, and it doesn't really take 1 month to solve. They should really look at the issue a bit better, perhaps.
Yeah, there's been talk about teams such as Georgia and Romania getting involved in promotion, relegation. How did that go down in Italy?
Not very well, to be honest. And I was at the as well in Teddington at the Italy press conference before the England game, and I was the only one asking the coach a question about England, about the game, because most of the press conference, it probably lasted 30 minutes, 25 minutes were about about Georgia, Romania, relegation, and himself and Parise, they were quite angry about the issue because they said yes, it might be interesting to have a European competition, but at the same time, it wouldn't make sense to play a single game against Georgia or against Romania to understand, to realize who might be qualified for the Six Nations, because one game doesn't really change much. The only way you can improve is keep playing against the best, keep trying to perform against top tier teams, and that's the only way you can really improve. So one game wouldn't really change things too much, and probably because I'm Italian, I feel like I agree with them. Because at the same time, I don't want to see Italy relegated or thrown out of the Six Nations. But at the same time, I understand they need to speed up as well in terms of of they need to improve, because otherwise, yes, it's pointless to be there at the very top if you can't really keep improving and face the very best in the world of rugby. So I understand the debate.
And teams can quickly improve. Look at Scotland. No one gave them a chance before this tournament, and they've actually got quite a few decent results. So who knows what can happen next year. Federico, it's been really good to talk to you this afternoon on Sportuccino. Just before you go, let us know how we can perhaps follow some of your work or anything on social media, please.
Yeah, at Fede Farco on Twitter. Normally that's my page, Twitter page, and YouTube page as well if you want some videos. Yeah, sometimes they're interesting.
Brilliant. Federico Farcomeni, the UK correspondent for Tuttosport. Thank you so much for being on Sportuccino.
Thank you. Thank you.